WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Hello and welcome to the Marburger Postgame Show. I'm your host this week, Dennis Davis, along with
Louis Carpenter
and
Tom Senafani.
Hey, and we got some playoff football for you tonight, folks. Hope you had an umbrella, a parka, a raincoat, a piece of plastic, or something, Louis. It reminds me of an old girlfriend, just nasty.
A lot of Dennis's girlfriends.
I had one of them too.
Steve liked that. He knows
Well,
what you know what I'm talking about, don't you,
I
Steve?
know how that is. Yeah. Well, we did have some good games tonight, though.
We did.
Pretty good ball games up on the board. And,
Terry's going to give some scores in that, but let's go ahead and jump in there. Let's give some of them scores up there.
Cherville over Highland Tech 42-13. Lincoln over Thomasville 14-7. Lincoln tried to give that away, and they finally come back and won it. Crest 38, Hickory Ridge 20, and I understand that was a runaway.
Crest had a pretty good score on there, and Jalen Moore got injured again. They took him out, didn't play him a second half.
Right.
They put in the freshman quarterback in the second half.
Smart.
Took most of the boys out. Don't want to get hurt at this
Absolutely.
point. Next week is the crucial game because you either got Ashbrook or Irwin, depending on how that game comes out.
Right.
And both of them are tough as nails.
Pretty good. Avery County 36, Bessemer City 21. It was South Point over West Rowan 28-7.
And that was tied at one time, Lewis. I thought that was
Well, it was, and then South Point finally got on the field.
Well, actually, West Rowan was up 7-0 in that ball game. Had the ball in the red zone, went for it on fourth down, didn't get it. Had a chance to make it 10 or 14-0. And then South Point wakes up, comes back. Of course, they've done this before, haven't they?
Well, Lewis,
so
They have. That's what I say. They'll play possum for a while, and then they get up. And when they get up,
I'm looking at that Avery Bessemer City score. Now, I heard you on the pregame show with Sam and them, but was your running back not able to play tonight?
Well, I don't know. Last time I talked to the coaches, he was 50-50. And that was Wednesday, and I hadn't checked with him today to see whether he played or not. And Coach Scott was up there, and he was the one that was sending me the information, but he didn't tell me whether he played either. So, but at one time, Bessemer was up 14-7, and then it was 23-21, and then it was 29-21, and undoubtedly Bessemer threw an interception, and Avery County made it 36-21.
Well, nothing personal, but for Bessemer City leaving Avery County, it's all downhill from here.
Amen.
All right. Tom, what's more of those scores there?
We got Starmount over Mitchell 42-7. Freedom, the number one seed in the Little 3A.
Oh, come on now, Tom. Say that with some
the
pride.
Number one seed, the Freedom High Patriots. They are a winner over East Rowan 33-13. Lewis and I got here a little early, and we were discussing the seeding done by Chapel Hill. We seem to both concur that South Point definitely was the number one seed in the Little 3A at 11-0 in a tough Big South Conference. I mean, I'm not really sure.
I understand.
I hear
Go ahead, Tom. You're right.
They do some coin tosses or some dumb
Ouija
board,
board,
Ouija board,
what they ought to,
wheel.
What they ought to do is that dropping one ball game is fine. But if you've got one team that won all their ball games, they're automatically number one.
They should get
be number one.
Bonus point.
And won their games in convincing fashion
Absolutely.
against quality opponents every week.
Yes.
So I just don't agree with it. Go ahead,
No
Dennis.
reflection
I don't
on
either.
Burns. Burns played a good conference schedule under the Crest
South Points
loss.
was tougher. South
But
Points was a
Point's
tougher schedule. It was a tougher.
Better opponents.
Yeah.
And undefeated. I agree with you, boys. South Point should have been
no question.
the number one seed.
I think they're all, and they tell me the state is going to look into that because I think we just said it. If you don't lose any games, y'all be the number one seed.
Terry's got
a
to
coin.
Concord was undefeated too.
Yeah, Concord.
Well, see, that's
and
what
there's
I'm
a good
saying.
there's a good
That's
case.
another one right there.
There's a good case for the Concord Spiders.
Concord, too.
But they're not in our broadcast sphere, so we're going to talk up South
I
Point.
think the way to solve this, boys, is next year we're just going to let Terry seed all the teams because he knows them better than the
He
high
does.
school
He
does.
association does.
He does.
And we'll get a more fair and balanced
There you
playoff.
go.
Score that kind of caught my attention over here. I expected the Hilltoppers to have a good game tonight and really do Rutherford County proud. East Rutherford and Chase not making the playoffs, which I guess surprised me a little bit, but maybe not.
But Monroe's good, Tom.
But Monroe is good, and it's a long ride from the top of the hill down to the other side of the big city.
Unlike
46 to
Bessemer
8.
City, they'll be going uphill
Yeah,
all the way home.
46 to 8. And no surprise that High Brighton just blows out Patton 41 to nothing. No disrespect to Patton, but that High Brighton team was pretty good. Here's an interesting score. Hunter Huss, which had a 4-7 record, hosted a 7-4 West Lincoln team. And I think that's got something to do with the number of wins against 2A opponents or something.
I think that's
It had to be a lot of my. Go ahead, Terry.
Was the number 1 2A team.
Right. See, and Terry's telling me Huss was the number 1 2A team in the Big South. Which are there one or two 2A teams in that conference?
One.
There's
Two.
two.
Who's the other one?
Lake Norman.
That's right.
Yeah, so I knew that it had to be something like that. A lot of the West Lincoln folks not real happy with the fact that they had to go down there to Gaystonia and play that game. But West
Did
Lincoln.
you say Gaystonia?
Gaystonia.
Gastonia.
Oh,
That's how they say
I
it over
started
there.
to say, send those cards and letters to Tom Centofanti.
Yeah.
Well, it was 30-27 Hunter Huss in a good
Well,
tight ball game.
And Dennis and I were discussing before we went on the air. Steve Gardner, Hunter Huss coach, benched his star running back.
Kieron Moore.
Right. I couldn't say it.
Yeah.
Carry on Moore because of this. They didn't say what, but it was disciplinary reasons. And he sat out the whole first half. I'd personally like to congratulate Coach Gardner on a classy move. That's the only way to play the game. If they break the rules, they got to pay, and I don't care
Doesn't matter
when
the
it
game.
is
Yeah.
or who it is. They got to pay, and Coach Gardner, hats off to you. That was a classy move.
And in the modern sports world, where it seems that winning is more important than character,
Exactly.
you have to tip your cap to him.
Exactly.
Blowout over Shelby, heard on WOHS. Brent Pasco, Jeff Jones had the call for you on WOHS.
Did
Shelby,
they get enough for Brent and
58-8. Ouch!
Jeff,
and they ran the clock. They
I
ran the
don't
clock
think
in the
that
fourth quarter.
Brett and Jeff were happy with the score. They wanted more.
Okay, we're gonna go to a break. We want to give you the station phone numbers. You want to call us 704-435-3297 or 704-482-1390 or 704-735-8071. Give us a call.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com. Here's a special money-saving message from Putnam Distributors in Patterson Springs. If you use petroleum products, you should consider a generic brand. Major brands charge premium rates covering national advertising and promotions. Good generic brand packages their own products and meets manufacturer specifications, and they can sell at a lower price because of lower overhead. Our generic brands include Wolfhead, Coastal, AutoGuard, and Lubriguard. Buy these brands and you cut your costs. See Putnam Distributors, 1626 Peterson Drive, Patterson Springs.
The leaves are falling, and so are the prices at S&R Auto Sales in Shelby. Now is the time to hurry into S&R Auto Sales in Shelby for great fall savings. And down payments start as little as $699. Pick up this week's What's Up Shopper for their selection or visit their website at srautosales.com. And be sure to play their sports trivia question of the week. The leaves are falling, and so are the prices at S&R Auto Sales in Shelby, your buy here, pay here headquarters, and the home of the satisfied customer.
The pre-holiday sales event is underway at Full Throttle Power Sports in Gastonia. Hey, you can even lay away for Christmas. Pick up this week's What's Up Shopper. Check out the great deals from the 2013 Yamaha Star to the 2013 Polaris Ranger 500 Crew. Ask about special financing available. Apply today, ride today. Good credit, bad credit, or no credit. Come on in and see what Full Throttle Power Sports can do for you. Full Throttle Power Sports, exit 22 off I-85 in Gastonia.
And now scores from our local area. Andrews has defeated Thomas Jefferson tonight 34-15, knocking Thomas Jefferson out of the 1A playoffs. In the 1AA playoffs, it was Cherville over Highland Tech 42-13. R.J. Abernathy 5 touchdowns. Avery County defeated Bessemer City tonight 36-21 in the 1AA playoffs. In the 2A playoffs, it was Shelby defeating Mount Heritage 58-8. It was Lincoln over Thomasville 14-7, and Winston-Salem Carver over Lake Norman Charter 53-14. It was Maiden over Forbush tonight 35-0. East Lincoln leads Bandy's late in the fourth 35-27, and Monroe has defeated R.S. Central 46-8. It was Hunter Huss fighting off West Lincoln 30-27 tonight, and Bunker Hill has defeated Ashe County 20-17. In the 3A playoffs, it was Burns over North Gaston 35-18. And South Point has defeated West Rowan 28-7. High Brighton over Patton 41-0. Pisgah leads Hickory 23-14 late in the fourth, and Forest View leads Jesse Carson 49-42 in the fourth quarter. Freedom leads has beaten East Rowan 33-13, and in the 3AA playoffs, it was Statesville leading South Iredell 35-17 late in the fourth, and Ashbrook and Asheville Irwin are tied 28-all with 6 minutes to go in that game. In the 3AA playoffs, it was Crest defeating Hickory Ridge 38-20, 21 straight first-round wins for Crest Chargers. It was Watauga and Porter Ridge are tied 26-all late in the fourth quarter. And now in the 4A playoffs, it was Greensboro Dudley 44, South Caldwell 7, and Mooresville has defeated Alexander Central 33-6. And now back to the guys in the studio.
And welcome back to the Marburger post-game show. Fellas, I just want to put a word in for Marburger tonight. They have this deal, Lewis, where they bring around the pickup truck to the games.
Right.
And they allow the fans to buy some tickets. The schools get to keep the money. Marburger doesn't take any of the money.
That's cool.
If you throw the ball and you hit the truck, you get $100. If you throw it in the trunk of the back end of the truck, you get $500. Now, last week at Shelby, Tom, were you there?
At Shelby? No, where was I? I can't remember where I was.
You watched it at
Yeah,
home.
I was at home. The week before I was at Crest. Yeah,
Well,
not last week.
Hal Hastings threw it in the bed, got $500. Hal does the press box stuff up there with Shelby. And tonight there was about 4 people over at Crest hit the truck and got $100. So
that's cool.
Thumbs up to Marburger
Yes,
and
sir.
their support for high school football all around.
Absolutely.
And Tom, speaking of support for high school football, you have a very important supporter too.
Yes, we would like to mention also, just one little more tidbit to Marburger. I take my vehicle there myself. If you want anybody to vouch for their service, the quality of their service, the quality of their people, you just come and ask me. I can tell you that any place I take my vehicle, I will recommend it to anybody who listens to this show. They do a great job. Over at Newt's, who does a fine job.
That's Sasha, by the way.
Yeah, it's Sasha. Sasha down at
Our
Newt's.
Sasha, not that other Sasha.
We know that we have to get in here, get the food in here early because once Dennis and Lewis get in here, it's
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That's because Newt's Grill down there in Shelby does such a great job.
It's good food.
And it's really good food. And Sasha down there and their staff will take care of you. They got a brand new menu that'll let you take home. They've just printed them up. Go down there and pick one up.
And Tom, let me say one thing about Newt's.
Go ahead.
This is homemade food, people. This ain't processed stuff. This is
Fresh
not frozen.
ground.
This is fresh ground meat. They make their own potato chips.
Yeah.
I mean, this is fresh food. This is delicious.
Which they send more, guys, but you don't get them because I eat them on the way up here.
Now we know, Lewis.
The rat.
Our fried pickles.
The rat
Let
is
me
back.
say, why don't they send so many chips? Well, now the mystery is revealed. And college night is Thursday. They have live music. I think that Sasha told me that when it gets a little colder, they'll move it in. I want to say I want to say, I don't want to say for sure. They do something with entertainment. I don't know if it's karaoke or they have live music inside or something.
You think we should go over and
We ought to
sing
go
one
down there
night?
and check
We ought
out.
to
Maybe
go
I could
sing.
pass. I could pass for a college student if I could be.
Yeah.
Give me a
The
tie-dye
only pass
t-shirt.
to college students you did is on the sidewalk.
That's right.
Absolutely.
But 10% off with your college ID on Thursday night. Get on down there, the Newts, or if you're like me and just too old to hang out with college kids, call in there, 704
against that, Tom.
406-9329. That's 704-406-9329. Get on down there. The Newts have burger. Steve, we got a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I was down at the South Point West Rowan game, and I was really impressed with West Rowan. Of course, South Point, everybody expected them to win, but if you look at that score, 28-7, that's misleading because West Rowan came to play. They always do.
Yeah.
And
they have 3 state championships, so they're no slouch. They have a program.
Yeah, they really did. And, you look at the seeding, and the seeding really is not right because they should not have been playing South Point tonight.
No.
They should have been playing somebody else. They should be
Absolutely.
playing South Point in the 4th round or the 3rd round, something like that, because they're just so good. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm glad that South Point won tonight because we want to see this South Point Burns clash coming up next week. But like you said, these 1st and 2nd round games are so tough because this bracket, quite honest, is so tough all the way. I know some of these teams are talking about, this is tough here, this is tough there. There's not probably a tougher bracket in the state seedings than what you guys have got in the little 3A in the West.
No, I don't think so. I'm telling you, there's some good teams in there.
Caller, we didn't catch your name. What was your name?
Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
From Belmont.
Okay,
Chuck, we appreciate you
I'm
calling.
from Belmont. I'm just gonna listen now. I appreciate it.
Appreciate
very
it.
much,
Thank you for
Chuck.
calling.
Hey, we got
And
our
thank
first,
you for listening.
We got our first South Point caller this year.
There you go.
And I
I
know they
believe
listened because last week at the Shelby
Right.
game, the coaching staff, Bill Tate and those boys were up in the booth, and they said, yeah, we listen to y'all all
Why
the time.
don't they call us?
Well,
Call us, guys.
you know how the coaches are. They
Got a
don't-
phone call.
All
Who
right.
we got? Hello? Hello?
Steve,
Steve's still pushing buttons. Oops.
Oops.
We lost
no.
him. Hello? Hello?
Okay.
All right, well, we don't have a caller right
We're
now.
trying
Go ahead,
to.
Go ahead and talk about that South Point coaching staff and
Yeah.
Listening to the
we
ball
need to
game.
get them to call.
And we'd like more coaches to call in and share your thoughts on this playoff system, the brackets, upcoming matchups. We'd like to hear from anybody, from any local school. So call us here at the station. The number I always remember is 482-1390.
Yeah, that's the easy one for
That's
the
the
folks.
easy one for
in
the
Cleveland County, of course.
Cleveland County.
735-8071 in Lincoln County.
And in Gaston County, 435-3297.
There you go.
There you go. Thank
Call-
you, Dakota. You're
Call
a
us
good man.
up. And I'm interested, Dennis, did you bring in the brackets where we can forecast where the matchups will be next
I printed off my brackets, but Lewis has got a copy down here.
Oh, yeah. Terry brought him in.
So a very intriguing matchup between Burns and South Point, and I think
You
that
think?
you guys were right
You
on the
think?
money. You think you were right on the money when you said this is really a 4th round game that we're going to see in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is somebody, either Burns or South Point, is going home, and
Yeah.
in my opinion, they're going to get cheated out of a game or two, which I don't think is right. But the seed, it is what it is, and you got to play who they slate you against, and that's just the way it is. But it makes for a very good matchup.
Tom, I was a little worried because when we got that first score tonight with the South Point game down there, and West Rowan was up 7-0, Lewis, I could see deja vu all over because South Point has had this habit of the
That's like chicanery.
yeah. This
Same
first
thing as chicanery.
this first round, South Point has had this nasty little habit of losing.
They have.
Great
They've
teams,
not played
great
well
seasons.
sometime in first-round games.
And I thought that might be the case here, but congratulations to South Point.
Right.
They've turned it around. And, Tom, I hate to tell you this, but the Bulldogs have got their hands full next
Well,
week.
they've got more than their hands full, and you want to talk about Coach Beam and the boys working on some assignment football this week.
Yes.
That's definitely going to – and I just haven't really seen anybody consistently stop them. And the funny thing is you think, okay, well, they're not a big play offense, but they run that red bone, and they're a big play offense. They reel off a lot of 50, 60, 70-yard runs.
The thing about it is their whole program from Pee-wees on up to the high school runs the same offense.
Yeah.
And those kids, by the time they get to the high school, they know it backwards, forwards, and upside down.
And in my opinion, it's a great offense.
Oh, it's
for
a
high
great
school.
offense.
For high school football, I mean, it's really
and
tough
when you
to
get
beat.
a quarterback that can actually read it and not have to pre-call it, then, buddy, you are set.
Well, I was talking to Phil Tate about their Shrine Bowl player, Tyler Bray.
Yes, sir.
And I said, I have a guy that I work with, Mark Aker, who's a big South Point fan because his stepdaughter was a cheerleader down there.
Right.
So he gives me the South Point update every week. And long story short, I said, you boys knew about this kid as a freshman because he came in and played his lights out against Crest. And he said, we've known about this kid since he was 8 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes back to what you're talking about, the
Exactly.
feeder systems. Hey, we just got a score in, fellas, that you're going to be very interested in the Ashbrook-Irwin game. It's 28-28 with 6:30 to go in the fourth.
That's still a good ball game. That's a good ball game.
My hope here is that they both knock each other out.
But unfortunately, one of
them's got to crawl into Sid Bryson Stadium next week. I would prefer Irwin to Ashbrook because Ashbrook somehow or the other just plays us nasty.
You know what it is. It's kind of like your conference games.
Oh, yeah.
In college football, where everybody can see. You wonder why. Well, how did this team that's lower in the conference beat one of the higher ups? Because they know them.
Exactly.
They know them. And Ashbrook knows
match
Crest.
up
Yeah.
well. And
Right.
for some reason, Ashbrook can have nothing, and they will beat Crest or play them close.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. I don't know, personnel, strategies, whatever it is. Some teams will do that regardless of the rankings and what
But
they
in
got.
all defense of Crest seems to be peaking at the right time.
That's
they
true.
play very well against Shelby, and in the first round playoff game, they played really well. I know Dennis will remind us that the Coach Barnes over there, Crest does not run up the score, and you might look at that and say, well, it's 38-20, but the ball game wasn't that close.
Listen,
so
it was not fair in that game. It was a situation where Hickory Ridge is a very young team. They graduated a whole bunch of seniors last year. Now, that's a team you need to watch for next year because they're going to be very good next year. They've got a big running back. Forest View and Cannon
Carson's
overtime.
What's the score?
28 all.
Seems to be a popular score, 28 all.
Overall, they are in overall. They are in overtime.
Well, I'm telling you,
Farm boys in overall.
Overall.
I got to pull for the Gastonia schools. I hope somehow they pull it out and make it.
As I was saying about this game tonight, Jalen Moore, coming off an injury last week, didn't play the second half. They started him in the first half. It was P.J. Brooks, by and large, running the ball. They would throw often enough so the team watching the film would know, we can pass. They weren't very successful at it. They give Jalen Moore, boom, couple of plays, touchdowns. Give it to Harbison. Harbison had like 76 yards officially in the first half, but he had 45 more yards and 2 touchdowns called back.
Right.
It was like the United Nations out there, Lewis. We talked about officials.
Overtime.
Some of these guys, overtime in the Ashbrook and Irwin game.
Yep.
I hope they wear them both out. Long story short here, sometimes you get a crew that's different, and it's just like Alan Ford said in the paper today. But we got a caller. Who we got?
Hey, this is Benjamin, known as Daddy Pants on the message boards. How you doing?
All right. Well, talk to us. Did you go to a game tonight?
Yeah, I did. I went to the South Point West Carolina game. You ain't going to find a bigger South Point fan than me. And I tell you what, them boys had me scared that first half.
Well, I just got through talking. Chuck called in. We hadn't heard from any South Point fans this year. Y'all have an excellent team. You got to be favored, I'm sorry, Tom, against Burns down there in Lineberger next week. But don't go to sleep on these Burns Bulldogs. I know there's a rivalry dating back several years. There's no love lost between the staff down there and Coach
You're
Beam.
right.
However,
You are right.
you guys, I have been impressed with a couple of the players. I talked about Tyler Bray a while ago. And I'm trying to think of the big kid that plays linebacker, safety for you. Help me out.
We were talking about him tonight. I believe he laid the boom on some of them Shelby players earlier this year.
He did.
I tell you what, he's a phenomenal athlete.
He looks like a D1 prospect, and
he's the one Carolina's recruiting.
He's only a junior too, Lewis.
Yeah, Carolina's Fedora was down to see him play this year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I apologize. I'm having a Alzheimer's here,
I
Lewis.
am too.
I can't remember his name. But tell us about what you saw tonight with the game. West Rowan's a good team, but obviously playing at Lineberger, you guys are tough.
We are, and I tell you, their defense lived up to the hype, but we made our adjustments, and I believe the better team came out on top. Our defense, I tell you, I want to give a shout out to that defense. We bent, but we didn't break. We let them in the red zone a few times, but we stopped them when we needed to. And that game could have got very, very interesting, but we stopped them when we needed to.
Well, the one thing I've noticed about South Point this year is the defense. You boys do a better job of defending the pass, which has been your Achilles heel over the years. And you've got two pretty good linebackers sitting back there to stop that run. And so when you can shut down the run and you can play the pass, I think South Point can go very far. Sorry, Tom. We'll see about the Bulldogs. The Bulldog fans can call in and tell me. But this is going to be, Lewis, what kind of game?
A slobber knocker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I believe it's going to be a slobber knocker, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited about it. I do not think them Bulldogs are ready for what they're going to come into. I mean, I got to tell you, Beam's a good coach, but I think our coaching staff is much better. I think we're going to put together 4 solid quarters, and Concord's going to be tough too. We got a tough road ahead of us, just like you guys were talking about the seeds. But
oh yeah,
whoever comes out on this side, which I'm going to go ahead and say will be South Point.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to deserve that road to that championship, and I'm ready for Burns Bulldog. I'm ready for that showdown. I want to believe that. I want to see what all that hype is in Cleveland County.
Well,
I hate to tell you, we beat Crest, we beat Shelby, and we're ready for another Cleveland County horse.
Shelby give you a pretty good ball game though.
Well, they did, but I think
and Hunter Husk give you a great ball game.
Let me ask you this: Do you think that perhaps South Point is a little susceptible to the passing game? It looked like Shelby was able to throw on them. It looked like some other teams were able to throw on them. And the other thing I may point out is South Point is a good team. When they walk on the field, they expect to win every single game. They have started out slow a couple times. So if you take those factors into consideration, maybe a bit of a trap for South Point. What do you think?
I see what you're saying, and looking back on the Shelby game, you can go ahead and look at that film. I believe that safety y'all were talking about earlier today, he laid the boom on some of them guys early, and I swear I seen one of them catch the ball and drop it on purpose just because he didn't want to feel that hit anymore.
I don't want to see him hit that little 6'9" boy. He might break him in half.
Well, I will tell you.
He's the biggest thing in our pass coverage. He gets all over that field, and, Montgomery, he's a heck of an athlete.
Yeah.
But, as far as passing the ball, I don't think he can throw it, and I think we'll be able to contain him back there in that pocket and force him to pass it. And with our safety back there, I think he's going to be able to help us out.
And another interesting matchup I'm wanting to say is that South Point offensive line against that big Burns defensive line.
That's a good one there.
It's going to be interesting because I remember when Coach Emery used to talk. Like Coach Emery used to be at Burns, and he's now at Shelby, but he always spoke very highly of the South Point offensive line and about how those boys get after it, and they don't mind hitting you in the mouth. And I know the Burns defensive line is good. So a lot of folks pay a lot of attention to the skill players. I want to see that battle in the trenches.
Well, Tom, let me interrupt you here to say that Ashbrook is taking the lead in overtime, 35-28. It's not over. So regardless of whether it's Irwin or Ashbrook, I'm going to be at Crest next week to see that game. But I would recommend to you, if your team is not playing, the game to see next week is this Burns South Point game. And I'm going to warn you, South Point folks, Coach Beam will probably have a little chicanery, Lewis.
Yeah. Well, and he might try some things to fool you too.
They're scared.
Yeah, and watch that when they run up to the line like they're going to kick it, and they run back, because they'll run up there every now and then and onside kick to you. They like to do that hocus pocus magic. Now you see it, now you don't kind of stuff.
I'll tell you what, that's a reflection of that damn Coach Beams there. But I'll tell you what, he put together a hell of a team.
Now they do a good job.
I'll tell you something.
He does. He gets the most out of them boys, but I just don't think they're going to be enough for these Red Raiders.
If you,
but, we'll see what happens Friday night.
If there's anything you could say, the brutal honesty and enthusiasm of the South Point fans, you can never ever doubt. I will say that all the South Point, all of them are like that. We appreciate you calling tonight. Call us next week.
You got to be tough to live in Belmont.
That's right.
You're right. I'll see you boys next week.
Thank you,
guys.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you.
call. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Terry, have you got an update for us?
I was just telling you, I told Tom earlier we had our first forfeit tonight, too.
Yeah, we did. And tell us about that, Terry.
Talk to us. Come here and talk to us about the forfeit. Use my microphone.
Guy didn't have a physical. No physical.
That's
Something about an
exactly what
ineligible player.
it was. A player had an expired physical. Forest
Expired
Hill
physical.
wins 1-0.
And
Over
who forfeited?
Mountain.
Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain
They
High.
travel all the way down here? Or did they come?
I think they called it on the list that they sent.
Oh,
Okay.
they called it before they didn't have to travel then.
And unlike some teams I know in the past, they didn't have to get off the bus, Lewis.
All right. There's Dennis still crying about 8 years ago. So.
Hey, I got a question for you boys.
Yes.
This little blue helmet in the middle here, who's that? I can't see.
Chervil, I think.
Oh,
What happened to we had a real Chervil helmet.
that's
terrible.
terrible.
What happened to our real
Is this a
Chervil?
life-size representation, or what's the
behind
difference?
you.
Oh, okay, there you go. Okay.
I don't know what they're trying to insinuate.
I just want
by
to
that.
know, folks, I am not making fun of
We
you.
are,
don't know who did that.
we are based in Chervil, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But let me interject. The Thomas Jefferson Classical Academy came in with a record of
The Fighting Dan Griffons.
came in with a record, I believe, of 8-2 or 7-3. And Andrews had a record. I'm trying to 4-7.
4-7.
And it's the Andrews, whatever they are, don't know their nickname, over the
Sisters, the Andrews sisters.
over the Dan.
Hey, all right.
But Dennis, they laid the smackdown on them, 34-15. Thomas Jefferson.
Andrews
season.
plays in a tougher conference.
Look
Yeah.
at Shelby. Look
And
at
his
what
season-
They play
record was
Robbinsville
going
and
in.
Franklin and Bryson City and people like that.
And Thomas Jefferson comes to an abrupt
And
end.
I used to know what their nickname was. Andrews.
We'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. I want to say the Andrews Falcons, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure Terry's going to come in and correct me.
Yeah,
here.
Terry, find out what that is.
You know what? Every time I make a mistake, I usually get a text message from Kevin.
There you go.
He'll send me a text message. Let me know.
Terry, see if you can find out what Andrews' mascot is.
Yeah. Hey, was Calvin back on the air tonight, or is Kevin
No,
still doing it?
Kevin did it, and I listened to him do the Burns game, and he does a great job. Him and Dan over there calling the Burns game. I'm just glad I'm not an official when Kevin's in the broadcast.
Oh, listen. If Kevin had been at Crest tonight, the FCC would have probably pulled his license. Hold it.
Ask
Time
for
out.
Irwin ties it,
In
yeah.
overtime, it's Ashbrook 35, Irwin 35,
Second overtime.
and we've got a caller, Steve.
Going to second overtime in that game, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby, how about them Lions?
What about them Golden Lions tonight?
No mercy for the Lions tonight.
They showed up and they played football tonight.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about it, Bobby. I know you were there. Steve DeGree hadn't called in yet, so you got first dibs on telling us about the Golden Lions tonight.
Well, I was really impressed that Raekwon Washington showed up and he played real good tonight. I understand he's been out several games. I wasn't really aware of that until just this past week, and I understand that he did not get to play in the Crest game.
Yeah.
And
now, did R.J. George play tonight, the quarterback? No. Well,
I'm sorry, say it again now.
R.J. George, had a concussion last week and went out. I don't think he was able to play tonight. So you did this with your backup quarterback, your JV quarterback?
Yes, we did.
Wow.
And he played an exceptionally good game, the lead boy. I'm looking for, I think someone was saying that hopefully Raekwon Washington will be starting practice Monday on the field, and he should be back in good shape. I think they said he passed all his tests
Very good.
in reference to his concussion, and that he's responding real good, and he should be ready to go by no later than this Monday at practice.
Well, that's great news, Bobby, because at this time of the year, these kids have worked so hard and so long in order to do this. You want to make sure that they have the opportunity to play, and especially those kids that are seniors get an opportunity to play and show what they can at this point.
Yes, and not only that, I think mostly every player that was on the team tonight played the game. I was impressed with Buck Erster's play tonight. He done a real good job of running the ball, and we made a couple of mistakes down the stretch during the game, but Coach Ware did a good job in letting the players, take turns and play tonight, and I was so glad to see that. And it just seemed like everybody was in a good mood, and Shelby Golden Lions come up with a good victory tonight at Blanton Stadium.
Well, I'm looking at the schedule for next week, and Shelby is going to play the winner of the North Wilkes and Brevard game. And, Lewis, who was that?
North Wilkes.
North Wilkes.
31-28 over Brevard.
I believe that will be down at George Blanton Stadium, Bobby. So I know, let's see, let me make sure there. They're a number 3 seed. No, Bobby, you will be traveling up to the high country to North Wilkes next week if you want to see your Golden Lions. Because
I believe you're right. I was just talking with Coach Ware just a minute ago before I left the stadium, and he was being interviewed. And I think he said if Brevard won that we would be playing here next week, but if North Wilkes won that we would have to travel.
Close, but no cigar. Right. 31-28 with North Wilkes.
I was close. I said Bearcat.
Yeah.
Well, that game was pretty well. It was a pretty close game all the way through, from what I understand, and I think if Shelby just go out and just play without turnovers, hopefully we'll come up with another victory on next week. And hope everybody be in good health on next week, including RJ George.
Well, Bobby, let me ask you this. They rang up 58 points tonight. Was the majority of their game the passing game we've been seeing, or did Shelby go more with the running game tonight with the new quarterback in there?
Well, they did. They passed a little bit, but it was more of the running game tonight that actually did the damage, and they did a whole lot better blocking than what they usually do. Yeah. And as I said earlier, Raekwon Washington was moving the ball real good, along with Jaquavius Brooks and several of the other guys for Shelby.
Well, that sounds like the Golden Lions are in good shape. I know you hate to have to go all the way up to Wilkesboro to beat them boys, but if you'll do that, then following that week, you will play the winner of, let's see, Owen and Mount Pleasant were playing tonight, and North Rowan and Surrey Central, and I don't have those right in front of me, but that would bring you back down to the bracket. Those are a 7 and 10 seed and a 2 and a 15. Unless North Rowan were to win and you guys beat, North Wilkes up there, you would get another home game, Bobby. That'd be great in the third round. So let's go Lions.
Yes, I think it would be certainly a great victory. It would be great for them if for it to turn out that way, and hopefully Shelby get another home field advantage, and hopefully we can win another home game this year and get on toward the state playoffs.
All right, Bobby. I know you'll keep us posted on the Lions next week. Call us in. You got a cell phone. I know you and Steve Degree keep us in the knowledge about the Lions. Be sure and call us back, Bobby. Thank you for all you've done.
I want to say one more thing.
Sure.
The guy that was talking about South Point beating Burns, he might be in for a surprise of his life, because Burns they got a smart coach.
Oh, yeah.
And they shouldn't be counted out, because I think them Bulldogs, they really got a good team. And when I saw them play up against Shelby, that was enough to prove that they are a good team. And South Point's going to probably be in for a surprise of the year.
But you're like, you got to remember, those South Point fans are kind of like some of them old-time Shelby fans used to be.
They are loud. They are loud.
Crest fans.
They are loud and they are proud.
Exactly.
I will tell you that.
They are loud and proud.
They are proud. And you boys have been down to Lineberger recently, so you know what it's like down there.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, the Shelby boys going up there to Moonshine Country on next Friday night.
Look at that. Wasn't that not tied at 28?
Which one are you talking about?
Forest View and Carson.
Goodness gracious, Lewis, what happened there?
I don't know.
Final.
That ball game was tied at 28, wasn't it?
I knew Forest View had a passing game. Evidently, they kicked it into gear here.
Somebody
Folks, a
found
final
something.
score.
That looks like a basketball
Jesse
score.
Carson, 48. Forest View, 63. Do you realize that's 111 points, Lewis?
Oh, that's pretty good.
But Forest View's been putting
Good
up
defensive struggle.
That looks
They've
like
been
a
putting up-
basketball score.
They've been putting up those numbers and giving up those
Well,
numbers.
yeah,
all
that's
year.
true.
We had a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yep. Who we got?
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is David Allen.
Hey,
Hey,
David.
David
Congratulations.
Allen. Who's that?
What's going on, fellas?
Is this David Allen, the principal of Shelby High
I
School?
started to say the principal
No,
of
this
Shelby
is
High
David
School.
Allen, the former announcer for the Golden
Yeah, I
Lions.
was going to say this is the former Golden Lions announcer, David Allen.
Well, David, tell us about that Golden Lions game.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good game for us tonight. Obviously, we played well, and real proud of the guys hanging in there and coming back from a tough loss last week to end the regular season, and with RJ not playing tonight.
David, let me interrupt you
David,
one
right,
second.
interrupt you here.
Number 1 Franklin tonight, 17. Number 16 Parkwood, 35.
And that's in the 1A.
Franklin's not 1A.
Oh, well, 2A. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 2A.
Which
Two
just-
AA, Terry said.
Which
Two
just
AA.
goes ahead and
I was
proves
gonna say
again that
Franklin's normally 3A, so they may be big 2A this year.
All right.
but-
Well,
Yeah.
David, sorry
They
for the
are. He
interruption.
said, Terry said that's 2 AA.
Okay.
Good Lord. 35 to 17.
Take it away, DA. It's all
Well, I
yours.
was just going to say, without RJ playing tonight, and
Yeah.
Dark Wesley up off the JV team,
Yeah.
and he got some play back there tonight. Raekwon took a number of snaps back at kind of going back to his days as the JV quarterback, and so we got the job done, especially on the ground tonight. We made some plays through the air as well, but mainly kept it on the ground with the weather. And Brevard had a 28-14 fourth quarter lead and couldn't hold it, and ended up North Wilkes kicked the field goal with 9 seconds left to win that one, and so that was unfortunate. If nothing else, we had a bunch of food we could sell in the concession stand next Friday night.
Well,
But,
David, I've got a final for you here that's going to make a lot of people happy. In the final, in 2 overtimes, it's Ashbrook 38, Irwin 35. So come on over to the Corral next week if you don't want to travel up the hill.
Well, that's and that was a close game earlier in the season. I'm, for Crest to, I think it was like a 28-23 win for Crest against Ashbrook earlier, and
I hate playing them boys.
That's obviously a tough matchup. It's been a tough matchup for Crest for the last couple of years.
Right.
I mean, I was very impressed with them last week. So if Ashbrook can do that again and stay with them, I would be very impressed with Ashbrook. But I think Coach Barnes has got his boys playing well, and they were impressive last week with us. So I expect them to do well again next week. And
David, if you said something I missed it, what is the status for your starting quarterback for next week?
Well, he obviously was out tonight, and normally it's a 2-week process. So, we'll just have to wait and see how that goes next week. At what point he's cleared to practice and then possibly play. At this point, I don't have good information on that.
Okay.
I'd like to think if we played like we did tonight, that we could possibly save him for the third round. Believe it or not, but.
But there's a protocol on that now, and that's out of the coach's hands.
Ride, and that's always interesting. But this weather just didn't really cooperate for us. None of us, the 3 county teams at home tonight, I know none of us made the money that we normally would make in the first round with the weather. But hopefully, especially with Crest being at home next week, and then maybe Shelby and Burns both can get back home again before this thing's over with.
Well, David, I've just got one favor to ask of you.
All right.
If you'd talk to Jeff Jones and Brent Pasco and tell them to get a little bit more excited about Shelby football, we'd appreciate it. Make the broadcast a little more interesting.
Well, not everybody can get after it like I did.
I know.
When
You
I
demand,
was
David. You demand.
Well,
when Shelby was scoring now,
I always had people tell me that they couldn't understand a word I said, but they knew that it was a good thing for Shelby because I was going nuts. So,
Yeah.
You know, that's always been my style, and I can't put that on anybody else. But big win for us tonight. We hope that things will continue for us well in the playoffs as well as the Cleveland County. I mean, what in the world Burns did to deserve the draw that they got?
Oh, no.
They got us that point in the second round. But
and you guys are the sleeper with your seed. And as a matter of fact, if you guys can win next week, you may get another home game.
Well, I mean, of course, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, basically, we ended up getting the lowest number 1 seed in the 2A West, and Burns got the highest number 2 seed in the 3A West. But you know, it didn't work out. It's good for either one of us. I mean, having to travel to in the second round. So you know, hopefully both all 3 teams next week will you know, move on again and you know, flex that Cleveland County muscle that we like to see this time of year.
Well, David, I want to just get this in real quick. Jeff did say that wins on the road can be special in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So as you're riding all the way up there to Moonshine Country next week,
remind Jeff of that.
Just remind Jeff of how special.
Maybe
road
that's
games
why it was
are.
real special. He went to North Wilkesboro and got some of that shine.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, I'll have to, you know, I don't know. Normally, I'm always having to come straight back after a football game. I've always had commitments, either radio, television, or something after the games, and never really got to take my time and enjoy. But we may just have to get us a room up there and enjoy the weekend up in North Wilkes next weekend.
Well, Tom said bring him a quart if you can. Not molasses either.
I won't touch that one with a 10-foot pole, but you boys have a good weekend.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate
You too, buddy.
There you go. This voice you hadn't heard this year. For those of you that are not aware why David is no longer broadcasting the Shelby games, he's now the principal at Shelby High School. And, you know, he just couldn't turn down the money, Tom. I guess that's his dream job, has been for years.
You know, and I don't know. I guess people are familiar with him, but David, great guy, doing a great job as the new boss man down there at Shelby, and congratulations to him. And he's just, I've never heard anybody say a bad word about him. Just a great guy, and I know he's going to do well down there at Shelby High School. We got Steve Degree. Go ahead, Steve.
Tell you what, fellas, y'all getting important. It's hard to get through to y'all now.
I tell you what, Steve, you must be running late tonight. We've already had 2 Shelby callers, Bobby and David Allen tonight. Man, you got to pick up your game next week.
We had a South Point caller.
I
2 of them.
I called on 3 numbers and I couldn't get through.
I know.
So y'all guys really picking it up.
Well, tell us about the Golden Lions tonight from the Steve Degree viewpoint.
Tell you what, we came out real strong the first quarter, and then we slacked off a little bit in the second quarter. We scored 31 points in the first quarter. And Darquez Lee, you know, did a pretty good job of them starting this first game. You know, they try to run the ball and sell it down. In other words, they try to get in and manage the game, not try to win the game. Mm-hmm. And he did a pretty good job. Then they put Raekwon in there for a little bit and let him on a little bit of the Wildcat. And it was just a great game. Played everybody, all the kids that we moved up from JV. So all the kids got to play tonight. Fourth quarter, they didn't stop the clock.
Well, Steve, what impressed me tonight was the ability to put points on the board without R.J. George in there.
You notice Darquez threw a beautiful pass to Antoine White. So he did get to score one time, but I think he made a bad read on a couple of those interceptions. But, you know, that could be, you know, the jitters from playing the first varsity game.
Oh, for a first varsity game and you win 58-8, that's not a bad start.
No, you know, and then because Darquez is a good kid, you know, I talked to him last night. I said, make sure you get your reads down, you know. If you have to check a sack. And live to see the next day. So I was proud of him. Then we had a couple of kids, like Cameron Hawk, came up from the JV squad, recovered 2 fumbles and all over the kickoff. So, you know, you can't ask for much. And then we had Damon Keith from the JV. You know, all these kids got to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I was impressed with that.
Well, Steve, sounds like you fellas had a very good night to be a Lion. And hate you have to travel all the way up there to North Wilkesboro next weekend. But, you know, like I said, if you can win that one, Steve, things turned back in favor of the Lions with possibly a home game in the following, the third round. So you guys go up there and take care of business and show them what Cleveland County football is all about.
And I hope your health is holding up, Steve. I know you've been through a lot. I hope you're feeling better. And our thoughts and prayers are with you on your health.
Well, Steve, thank you for calling. We're going to be right back after a break.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Jam and Jay's Pizza Factory is Shelby's favorite locally owned family pizza restaurant. Come by and see why. Jam and Jay's features a pizza buffet and salad bar. Jam and Jay's has a fantastic game room. Call for information on birthday parties at 704-600-6182. And now Jam and Jay's has gluten-free pizza. Also on the menu is vegan cheese pizza. Jam and Jay's Pizza Factory, 1011 Grove Street, just off Highway 74 bypassed east, behind the Golden Corral in Shelby. The leaves are falling, so it's a good time to see the good selection of Echo blowers at Shelby Hardware. The Echo PB500 backpack blower is on sale for just $299.99 after a $30 in-store rebate. And the Echo PB755S backpack blower is just $399.99 after a $40 in-store rebate. Your Echo dealer for Shelby and Cleveland County is Shelby Hardware, 506 South Lafayette Street in Shelby.
Now you can shop Standridge Auto Parts on eBay. And be sure to like us on Facebook too. You can shop the big inventory online on Facebook and eBay. And yes, you can pull it or get full service at Standridge Auto Parts in Shelby and Rock Hill. And they buy scrap metal and offer recycling services. Standridge Auto Parts, 234 Porter Road in Rock Hill, 1521 Sulphur Springs Road in Shelby. Both open Monday through Saturday. Visit the website at StandridgeAutoParts.com. Standridge Auto Parts.
New owner, new attitude. That's Forest City Honda, voted the best new car dealer in Rutherford County for the second straight year. And Forest City Honda's Greg Huntley has been named the best car salesperson for the second straight year. Plus, the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas has named the Forest City Honda Service Department the best in the Carolinas by a vote of its customers. Forest City Honda, ready to serve you with the best cars, best service, and the best salespeople. Forest City Honda, Daniel Road, Forest City.
Since 1983, Bill Shuford Heating and Air has been providing dependable service and quality products to the Cleveland County and surrounding area. And the tradition continues today with quality American Standard heating and air conditioning systems. Plus, if you need a repair, Bill Shuford Heating and Air services all brands including Trane. Just call 704-484-0025 for Bill Shuford Heating and Air, 213 Campbell Street in Shelby, your American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. It's where your comfort is our concern.
And now scores from around the area. Andrews has knocked Thomas Jefferson out of the playoffs. Final score, Andrews 34, Thomas Jefferson 15. Cherryville runs all over Highland Tech 42-13. It was Avery County defeating Bessemer City tonight 36-21. Shelby had no trouble with Mount Heritage. Shelby 58, Mount Heritage 8. Lincoln and Thomasville had a battle as a 7-7 ball game in the third quarter, but Lincoln comes out on top. Final score, Lincoln 14, Thomasville 7. Winston-Salem Carver had no trouble with Lake Norman Charter, 53-14. Maiden rolls all over Forbush, 35-0. It was East Lincoln over Bandy's 35-27. It was Monroe over RS Central 46-8. It was Hunter Huss defeating West Lincoln tonight 30-27. Bunker Hill over Ashe County 20-17. It was Burns defeating North Gaston 35-18. South Point pulls away from West Rowan to win 28-7. High Brighton defeats Patton tonight 41-0, but Patton finished the year 7-5, first winning season in 6-year history of the school. It was Pisgah 31, Hickory 14. It was Forest View 63, Jesse Carson 48. Freedom defeated East Rowan 33-13. It was Statesville over South Iredell 35-17. It was Ashbrook winning in double overtime over Asheville-Irwin 38-35. It was Crest over Hickory Ridge 38-20. It was Porter Ridge defeating Watauga 32-26. Greensboro Dudley had no trouble with South Caldwell 44-7, and Mooresville defeats Alexander Central 33-6. And now back to the guys in the studio.
Welcome back to the Marburger postgame show. I tell you what, Lewis.
What?
I was just glancing over here at the What's Up Chocolate football predictions. And we have in
The
studio
football
with us
predictor.
tonight, Andre Bush.
The predictor.
Now, I want to give Andre credit. Andre is a man who puts his money where his mouth is.
Well,
Or
but
is
let's
his mouth
just
where
look
his
at this.
money
Wait a
is?
minute. Lincoln Thomasville, he picked Thomasville.
Mm-hmm.
All right. East Lincoln, he picked them.
Yeah.
Hunter Huss, he picked that one.
Yeah.
Crest, he picked that one.
Yeah.
North Gaston, he picked that one.
Yeah.
Now we go to Shelby and Mountain Heritage.
And he picked Shelby, didn't he?
He picked Mountain Heritage.
I think the crystal ball was a little cloudy.
I think the crystal ball had
Little
a crack
cloudy.
in it or
Hey,
something.
Bobby, Steve DeGreek, you can call in. We'll give you Andre.
But now he did call Bessemer City right,
Yeah.
and he missed the Forest View.
Well, you know.
But he got the Red Raiders right, and he got Asheville. He missed that one too. Ashbrook won that one in overtime, 38-35.
What's that old saying about a blind hog finding an acorn?
Well, he didn't. He walked all around acorns this week.
Are you saying he couldn't find his nuts?
He couldn't find an acorn. nut.
We got a caller. We got a go ahead caller.
Who we got?
Michael.
Hey, Michael, take it away, Tom.
Hey, Michael, tell us about what you saw with the Burns Bulldogs tonight.
I seen we scored all those touchdowns tonight over North Gaston. And
It looked like early we got off to sort of a slow start, and it was 0-0 for a while, but it looked like Burns Bulldogs offense just took over late first and into the second quarter.
yeah,
And South Point didn't really have, North Gaston didn't really have too much of a threat. I noticed they put their quarterback that was out for the first played the first 5 games, or 5-0, got hurt, and then hadn't played since, and they put him in the game. I can't remember the kid's name. But it didn't seem like they had, even with him coming back from injury, they didn't have a whole lot for our defense.
I know.
Coach, this is Lewis. Congratulations.
So tell us, what do you think about the next?
I thought you was going.
What do you think about next week's matchup? You want to give us a prediction in the Burns South Point game?
And that's a good one.
Between Burns and South Point,
Yeah, you got a prediction?
Have y'all
I
gotten
predict
back yet?
Burns wins over South Point.
Okay, well, we've heard it from Michael. His prediction.
All right,
He's saying they're going to win next week. Michael, call us back and let us know. Thank you. We got another caller. Go ahead, caller.
All right, who we got, caller?
Oh, well, thank you very much. I knew I left it somewhere.
Go ahead.
Just hang on to it.
Who we got,
Hey.
caller?
Hey, this is Daniel Graham, and I'm the Burns wrestling coach. I was at the Bulldogs home field tonight.
Dan.
All right, Tommy, take it away
Hey,
here.
Dan, tell us about what you.
Irwin?
Tell us about what.
Irwin Mount Pleasant.
Lewis, I'm having a hard time hearing the caller. It's all right.
Yeah.
Dan, go ahead.
Welcome to the Lewis show.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we looked, it's sloppy field, sloppy conditions for both teams, but I felt like we looked pretty good at all facets. The defense played really well, bend but don't break mentality. Montgomery threw some really good passes. Receivers did a good job catching the ball, even with the wet conditions. And I feel like we were running on all cylinders, looking forward to next week's game.
Okay, I noticed that it looked like Burns really dominated especially towards the end of the first quarter and into the second. I know that North Gaston likes to run that option offense, similar to the South Point offense, and a lot of folks were talking that if we had success against North Gaston, now South Point is in a totally different league, but at least we got to look at it. And how did we look in playing that assignment football?
Well, I felt like we looked pretty good the majority of the night. I mean, there's a couple times North Gaston's athletes kind of broke one outside, but overall I think we contained them. But, I mean, like you said, South Point's a different animal. They've got some, they've been running that offense for years, and that's a well-oiled machine we'll be going against next week.
Yeah, I think Coach Beam's going to have them ready. A turnover bug has stung us a good bit up there at Burns. How did we do taking care of the football? I know there was one fumble in the second quarter off a pretty good hit. So it wasn't like he just dropped the ball. He got hit pretty good and fumbled the football. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually right there on the sideline when it happened. It was a pretty good hit on the receiver, and the ball just popped right out and landed pretty much in the defender's lap. But other than that, I felt like we took care of the ball pretty well. And Jalen King, I was really happy with the way he ran the ball, replacing Tyler Ruff. And it looked like, with sloppy field, we did a pretty good job holding on to the ball.
How was Tyler tonight? Is he recovered?
Well, he was walking around on the sideline. He looked like he was injury-free, but, being a running back and all, you got to be able to cut. So I don't know if he's, quite there yet. I don't know what his status will be for next week.
Dan, do you have a bold prediction for us next week in the Burns South Point matchup?
Well, I'll tell you what. After I was keeping up with the West Rowan game, it was actually a little closer than what it was. West Rowan got it to the South Point 5 about 3 times and couldn't cash in. So I feel pretty good about it. I think our offense could score a little bit better than West Rowan. So I'm going to say Burns 35, South Point 28.
All right. Well, we heard a bold prediction here from Dan Grellman. And just in case you didn't know, I did soccer for years. Dan helped me out. He was my pupil back in 7th grade. Great family. Him and his brother helped me out a lot year. They took over the soccer program this year, took them to the playoffs. Did a great job with that bunch. So Dan and John do a lot for us up there at Burns. And the guys from Crest were dogging your brother out on the radio last week, John. So, Dan. So I'm glad that you got in and were able to speak up for
What do you mean dogging him out?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
Well, those Crest guys, I'm sure they got pretty excited that they probably didn't think they were going to beat Burns. They probably shocked themselves a little bit and didn't know how to handle it.
We were showing the Bulldogs a little love.
I'm sure he stoke the fire a little bit. But, Dan, we've got the Cherryville coach on. We're going to get him on next. Thank you for calling. Give us a call next week.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Coach Fox. Hook him up, Steve. Coach Fox, is that you?
Yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah.
You on?
Yes.
Coach Fox, appreciate you calling tonight. Big victory tonight for the Cherryville Ironmen. And congratulations to you. And tell us a little bit about Cherryville and how you guys did it tonight.
Well, we got off to a good start. And we kind of got a little sloppy there before the end of the half. But then a heavy rain came, and it was cold. But we finished up. We got a lot of kids in to play. And everybody got in and got some good playing time, and young guys got a little bit of experience playing in a playoff game. So
tell us a little bit about the young man who had 5 touchdowns tonight.
R.J. Abernathy. He's been a steady runner for us all year. He's been all year. I think he's probably somewhere around 1,500 yards right now for the season. We ended the season, the conference season, or actually the regular season last week. He was averaging 9.7 yards a carry. So he's been a stable back for us all season long. So he kind of suffered a turf toe injury about midway through the season, and 2 or 3 games there, we just had to manage his carries. He had to about 8 to 10 carries a game, but he's extremely quick. And even though he's a very small package, he's a very tough.
I started to say, Coach,
down.
what's his size?
He's about 5'5", I guess, 5'6". He weighs about 140, 145, somewhere in that range.
He is tiny, but he can fly.
Yeah, he can fly. I mean, he's the brother of my quarterback from last year, another small guy that can fly.
Right.
Sproles type runner.
Yeah, I mean, and his brother, older brother, played quarterback for me, and then his older brother was a fullback for me. He was a great fullback back in 2006, 2007.
Right.
Well, Coach, you've got Starmount next week. They're the number 2 seed with an 8-3 record. What do you know about Starmount? I know you hadn't had a chance to look at film and plan for them because you had to win this game first, but any thoughts come to mind about Starmount?
Well, we actually finished our JV schedule up playing Starmount's JV. So I have a little bit of knowledge of them, from the JV game. With the varsity, I know they are number 3 for them as pretty much their big back for yardage. Somebody we have to stop, and they have a state pretty. After that, it gets pretty equal. They have about 3 or 4 guys that carry the load from there. I think one's got about 1,100 yards, and then they got about 3 or 4 guys with 400 or 500 yards for the season. So they spread the ball out pretty well. We're going to have to block well up front and tackle a little bit better than what we did tonight. But, we're very capable of doing that. A little bit tonight, I think we were looking for the big hits instead of wrapping up at times. And we're not going to be able to do that next week and get away with it.
Well, Coach, as a head coach, I want you to walk through for some of our listeners a little bit of what you go through here. Now that you've won this game, tell us sort of what your schedule is going to be like, exchanging film, looking at them, coming up with your plan, your game plan, both offense and defense, and sort of implementing that with your players and everything, and what you're going to run through. What's going to take place sort of on a timeline for you in the next, say, 3 or 4 days here?
I've already downloaded film to the internet tonight, and I did that on my way, a little mobile hotspot in my car on my way home.
Yeah. Sure beats swapping tape, don't it?
Yeah, it does. We'll probably get a film exchange sometime about 12 to 1 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
I will break down probably 1 or 2 films tonight before going to bed.
Yeah.
And get all that information up and send some information out to my kids that they can pull up on the internet and watch over the weekend.
Wow,
and give them some information.
That's a change, Coach. From
Technology's come a long way, hasn't it, Coach?
Back in the day of Lewis and I, we had to get the chalkboard and erasers out.
Absolutely.
And, draw it up on Monday for them.
It's come a long way, especially in the last few years, and with Huddle. Everybody, most of the people being on it, it's made life a lot easier as a coach. You don't have to do that 6 a.m. Exchange or 7 a.m. exchange.
Drive to some Waffle House somewhere to swap tapes with some guy.
Yeah.
Says, oh, by the way, we got beat last night. You need to go see the other fella.
But after that, I will start to put together our game plan Saturday evening, usually. I'll usually, after I get all that info sent out to the kids, I'll usually watch a little bit of college football, and then after eating dinner, I'll usually start putting the game plan together and work on it again early Sunday morning. And then Sunday afternoon, the coaches will meet, and I'll go through the game plan with them with all the breakdown information on Starmount. And Monday, we'll start our day with a film session, going through just as reminders and showing the kids what we wanted to see on tape. And then we'll begin practice on Monday. We'll have about a 2.5-hour light practice.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Get your
hit on
injury
Tuesday
treatments.
and Wednesday where we really focus on the skills, tackling, blocking, and so on and so forth. And then a quick walkthrough on Thursday.
Well, Coach,
So that's pretty much it.
The reason I asked that is I want the fans out there to realize how much work goes into preparation that you guys do in the coaches' offices and watching the film and getting the game plan together. It's not like you're going home tonight and, celebrate a little bit and hit the rack. You've got a long night ahead of you to get the things together, to get to the coaches, to get to the players, to get put in so that you can play next week against this Starmount team that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more work than what people I think realize. And like I said, I basically take about 4 or 5 hours off on Saturday afternoon, and then I take enough time, from about 10 to 1 on Sunday, about another 3 hours, and then the rest of it is pretty much work through the weekend. So I get about a 7-hour break during the weekend to enjoy myself with whatever I like to do. But it's well worth it when the game plan comes together. But when things aren't going right, it's kind of frustrating too.
But it's especially fun in the playoffs, isn't it, Coach?
Yeah, it is. And like I said, every one of our kids got to enjoy that tonight, and that's something that even the young. I mean, we had a lot of freshmen and sophomores played the second half, and that's something that that they'll be able to do, experience and to grow with.
Right.
A little bit more for next year too.
Well, we know you got a long night ahead of you, Coach, and we're going to let you go get on it. We've got another caller coming in here, so best of luck to you in the Ironman next week.
Thank you for calling, Coach.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, Steve.
Who we got? Hello.
Dan, sorry about your Greer Fawns tonight.
Oh, they got beat, did they?
Yeah, 34 to 15.
I'm sorry.
Back to the weight room.
Well,
or the
pack it up
buffet,
for next
whichever.
year, and get better next year.
There you go.
Well, Dan, I'm going to tell you, I listened to you and Kevin on the radio tonight, or on the internet, I should say, and no pun intended. You guys did a great job following that game. I was disappointed that all I got to see was the scoreboard, and Kevin did explain that Time Warner Cable owns all the rights, so we don't have any video
It's
except for the
playoff
scoreboard.
time.
Yeah, but
It's playoff time. And by the way, the Tiddlywinks tournament begins next week in Raleigh, State one, and we can't show the video of it. Time Warner will show that.
Darn.
Don't you love?
Wait a minute.
Don't you love monopolies?
It may be on Time Warner, but you may not be able to see it due to outages.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, Dan, I understand.
It's like watching ESPN, the World Series in Shelby. You got to have an act of Congress to get to it.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Well, Dan, I understand that since Burns won tonight, that you're going to get to go down to the lovely confines of Lineberger Stadium,
which gives us a chance to get that special road win. But
Yeah.
I'd much rather be in the comfy confines.
I'm going to tell Calvin when we go next week. Calvin will be back next week. But
oh yeah,
that's great. That's great news.
Tell Calvin that we will go. We can go by Lineberger's Fish Camp, maybe.
Oh yeah,
and go to Lineberger Stadium.
Well, Dan, break that down for us a little bit. What do you think about this matchup? South Point's Redbone against Burns' defense, and maybe that Burns passing game with Montgomery and Gillette versus that, I think, suspect South Point secondary.
It just may. If you remember 2 years ago down there, Burns was down by a 42-21 score at halftime.
Crazy game, yeah.
Yeah, and they came back and tied it up and then lost in overtime. But, you go down to South Point, it's a tough place to play, a great football tradition. I mean, you can't put down the South Point tradition. Coach Mickey Lineberger is doing a good job carrying on that tradition. And But I think the Bulldogs know what it takes now to win down there, and I think they can come away with a win. And if they do, that's great. I really think so.
I think to control that red bone, you'd have to say that you got to have a defensive line to get in there and disrupt things.
Tom, hold it right there. Time out. Forget controlling the wishbone. The thing that it beats South Point most of the time is you beat them 54-53. So you put up some points.
So Dennis is
don't waste your time playing defense.
Just foregoing.
Get the ball back.
I have to disagree. I don't think it's I think it can be contained, not stopped, contained, and it would. You have to get some disruption of their up front with your front four.
And one thing too, don't wear yourself out in the first half.
Yeah,
play
because it'll be four quarters.
Four quarters, and I think that's something with them. I think maybe the key to the game next week, and Kevin Hastings brought this out tonight, the linebackers for Burns.
Yeah.
And I think that could be a key if they can help, do quite a job on the running game, as you call it, the red bone of South Point, and maybe I think the Bulldogs can come up with a win.
Well, we know how South Point's blocking scheme is on offense. We know how Burns' front line on defense is. And when those big boys go down to their knees and you've got a couple of good linebackers there behind them, you guys might be able to stop them. But now they've got a good quarterback, a good running back, and they've got a couple of weapons there. So, Dan, you're going to have an exciting game for you and Calvin next week, and hopefully all the Burns people will be listening right here on KTC Broadcasting and listen to what you and Calvin have to say about this game if they don't go down to Lineberger. And if they do, they can get us on the phone and listen to us down in the stadium.
Yeah, since we can't, Dennis, since we can't show the game now,
yeah,
our great thing now is we can show the different scoreboards.
Yeah, okay.
We saw the Bulldog scoreboard tonight. We'll see Lineberger scoreboard next week, and hopefully we'll show the Carter Finley scoreboard in mid-December. That's what we're looking for.
So thank you, Time Warner, for your graciousness.
Yes, I take it we're back at state this year for the 3As.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's
small
right.
3A. The
small 3's at NC State.
3A. Yeah. Now the 3AA will be at BB&T Field
at Winston-Salem.
In Winston-Salem.
Well, what I was hoping is that all Cleveland County could get there for a doubleheader, but it sounds like we're going to be split up and have to drive back and forth depending on what time the games are played.
Well, the good thing is, this is looking hopefully in the future because you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. No. Shelby would play on Friday night at 7:30.
Yeah.
Burns would play at 11 o'clock and that would be at Keenum Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Burns would play at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning at Carter Finley, and Crest would play at 3 on Saturday afternoon at BB&T Field.
Can you say road trip?
Road trip.
Road trip.
Do a little tailgate.
Before I get away, guys, I know you was talking to Michael, a big Burns fan, a little while ago. He has a new car.
Oh, he didn't share that with us.
He was trying to get me to see it, but it was raining when we left. I said, Michael, I'll see it another time. But Michael's got a new car. Big Burns fan.
Well, we'll get Michael to tell us about that next time he
Did he get a Mustang? Because, all the Burns people would like to ride in a Crest. Maybe he got a Dodge Charger.
No, it didn't look like a Mustang.
Oh.
It didn't look like a Shelby Mustang. Okay.
Maybe
now,
he got a Mack Bulldog. I don't know, but.
Hey, one other thing.
Yeah.
I got to ride in Kevin and Amy's new car coming back from Burns tonight.
Hey, don't mention Kevin in that. Only thing Kevin's got in that car is a payment. That's Amy's car. Only thing Kevin's got in that car is a payment.
I'm getting a little jealous. All these people having new cars. This isn't fair.
You need to go down to Marburger and trade that piece of junk you got in for a good car.
I need to do that.
Hey, listen, it was an electric car.
Yeah.
I had a root canal this morning down in Charlotte.
I had one in Shelby this week, Dan.
Did you? Well,
I went over to see my good friend.
God, since I've been in that electric car, I'm talking funny sometimes.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't realize it, but I had to go over and see my good friend Bill Clater this week, and he He gave me a root canal and a crown, and I got it all in 2.5 hours. One-stop shopping. Of course, it's going to take me about 6 months to pay for it. I think Steve's heading to us.
Listen, good job, guys. Good job, Lewis. Tom,
Thank you.
Thank
you, Dan.
Steve.
We'll see you
Terry,
later.
Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Got to go sell some stuff. Be back shortly with the Marburger post-game show.
I think that's a hint.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Here on the radio, we've been telling you about Kibo's Quick Stop in Shelby. Kibo's was opened 19 years ago by Keith Yearwood. And Keith and the gang invite you into Kibo's for delicious Hunt Brothers Pizza, good for tailgating and for those upcoming holiday parties. Also, there are snack items such as soft drinks, candy, chips, and pastries, plus packaged and hand-dipped ice cream, milk, bread, tobacco products, motor oil, and don't forget to fill that vehicle up with gas. Kibo's, Highway 226 North at the Zion Church Road intersection, Shelby.
Packing that lunch for school? Then head to the Ora Supermarket and Broad River Hams for some great back-to-school lunch packing good deals. Broad River Country Ham, $5.99 a pack. Hormel lunch meat, $3.99 a pound. All meat bologna, $3.99 a pound. Boiled ham, $4.99 a pound. And sliced American cheese, $5.99 a pound. And don't forget the Pick 5. Pick 5 bags of frozen food for only $19.99. Ora Supermarket and Broad River Hams, 1026 East Marion Street in Shelby. They're the steak place.
There's never been a better time to switch to Nationwide and save. For auto, home, life, or business insurance, call Heather, Gary, Mark, or Gaylord at the Gaylord Brawley Nationwide Insurance Agency in Shelby. You can trust Nationwide, serving North Carolina customers since 1928 and number one for 20 straight years. The Gaylord Brawley Nationwide Insurance Agency, 1235 Falston Road in Shelby. Call 704-484-2680.
Come see what they've rounded up for this month at the Roundup store in Shelby. 3/4-inch ash plywood, good on both sides for $39 a sheet. Good on one side, just $29 a sheet. And the Roundup store has 1/4-inch hardboard paneling for $18 a sheet. 3-tab white shingles are $45 a square. And their wood buildings are built to last. Make your dream kitchen a reality at the Roundup store. 1610 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby. Open 8:30 till 5:30 Monday through Friday. 8:30 till noon on Saturday.
And now scores from around the area. Thomas Jefferson was eliminated from the playoffs tonight as Andrews beat them 34-15. Cherryville defeated Highland Tech tonight 42-13. Next up for Cherryville will be Starmount. Avery County defeated Bessemer City 36-21. It was Shelby over Mountain Heritage 58-8. It was Lincoln over Thomasville tonight 14-7. Winston-Salem Carver defeated Lake Norman Charter 53-14. Next week, Lincoln goes to Winston-Salem Carver. Maiden defeats Forbush tonight 35-0. It was East Lincoln over Bandy's 35-27, setting up a rematch as Maiden will travel to East Lincoln next week. Monroe defeated RS Central 56-8. It was Hunter Huss defeating West Lincoln 30-27. Bunker Hill defeated Ashe County 20-17. Next week, Bunker Hill goes to Hunter Huss. It was Burns defeating North Gaston tonight 35-18, and South Point defeats West Rowan 28-7. Next week, Burns makes the trip to Belmont to face South Point. It was High Brighton defeating Patton tonight 41-0. It was Pisgah over Hickory 31-14. It was Forest View defeating Jesse Carson 63-48. It was Freedom over East Rowan 33-13. Next week, Forest View goes to Freedom. It was Statesville over South Iredell 35-17. It was Ashbrook defeating Asheville Irwin 38-35 in double overtime. Crest defeats Hickory Ridge 38-20. Next week, Ashbrook goes to Crest. It was Porter Ridge over Watauga tonight, 32-26. Greensboro Dudley defeats South Caldwell 44-7, and Mooresville over Alexander Central 33-6. And now back to the guys in the studio.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLO in Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Welcome back to the Marburger postgame show. I'm Dennis Davis, along with
Louis Cartner
and
Tom Sanafani.
We know we're not the three amigos, but we do.
We're the three locos.
I like that now. That's pretty good.
We
The
may
three
be
locos, very
we may
good.
be the three banditos.
Well, and yeah, that too.
But anyway,
We're taking Calvin's money for
we're
all
here-
this silliness we do.
we come in here on Friday nights and we talk a little football. And what is that phrase? General silliness. If they
General,
say-
I like that.
General silliness.
I don't know who wrote that in there, but that was cool. 'cause
Well,
that's
after this
exactly
year,
what we do.
he's probably a 4-star general.
There you go.
Well, anyway, fellas, let's. We were giving Andre a hard time earlier about his predictions.
We were.
But he's not the only guy that predicts some scores, Lewis. I was just looking here in the Shelby Star. I know you usually have the Gaston paper.
I
You
don't have it with
tonight.
me tonight.
But I was looking at Alan Ford, Clark Leonard, and Gabe Wisnett. And Alan has been 73-41 this year. Clark has been 73-41. And Gabe, a Crest boy, has been 79-35 this year. Now, they all picked correctly Tom Burns to win tonight. So let's give them a heads up.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly a bold prediction. Although North Gas
Come
is not
on now,
that,
Tom.
North Gas is not that bad, but it's kind of like one of those teams that, okay, we beat bad teams, we lose to good teams.
And they all picked Crest tonight.
Well, that was again these first round games, and if I could be critical of the state, which I never am, but a lot of these first round games, Dennis, I think.
Money.
Yeah, and they just don't like.
They didn't need to
when
play
you've
them.
when you've got a Highland Tech in the playoffs at 1-11. I'm just not real sure that's a good idea.
Yeah. Anyway, they also predicted Shelby, but I'm looking down here at the Monday night game in Charlotte. Lewis, you remember Brandon Spikes? You went over with me to Crest when he was a freshman. I said, this boy, he's going to be playing on Sundays. Well, he's going to be playing on Mondays now. And I'm in contact with Brandon.
That's right. He is going to play Monday night.
And Brandon, I said, old buddy, I was thinking I might want to hit you up for a ticket or two over there. And Brandon wants to. He's smart in that he said there are no free tickets. If you want a ticket, they're $100. And I thought, well, dad shim, Brandon. I mean, I'm your old, close buddy here, and you want to charge me $100. But Lewis,
what?
I should have bought the dang thing because you know what they're going for on StubHub? $1,100.
Good
I could have made $1,000. Duh.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Steve. Hey, you'd have
You
bought
goofed
it.
up again.
I know. It's not the first time. And it won't be the last. Lewis, you looking that up for him?
Yes, I am, but I can't figure it out.
In the meantime, look at what they have picked here, Tom. In the Monday night game between the Patriots and the Panthers, Ford picks the Patriots 24-20. Leonard picks the Patriots 24-21. And Gabe, bless his heart, picks the Panthers 28-24.
Well, I tell you what, we need a little more home cooking on that now. Come on,
Panthers,
boys. Panthers are playing well. Newton's playing well. Let's get a little love for the Panthers there, Alan Ford. Come on. I think the Panthers are going to beat Brady just doesn't have anybody to throw it to anymore.
No.
So I think the Panthers.
Well, now Gronk is going to be playing there. And here's the matchup, boys. You want to keep an eye on Monday night. Gronkowski versus Kinkley. Can Keekley cover Gronkowski on that little route where he goes out and catches that pass? If he can shut him down, and he was Defensive Player of the Week in the NFL, if he can do that, it's going to be a long night for the Patriots.
Well, it's going to be an interesting matchup, and I think this is kind of a would be a signature win for the Panthers if they can get a win
Yes, it
here.
would. Yes, it would.
And a signature win for Cam Newton. A lot of folks have been on his case about maybe not living up to expectations.
And he's toned it
this-
down stat-wise. He's not getting a big number, but he's controlling the game, Lewis, and you want a quarterback who can manage the game. But
he's learning.
And he is, and this is, you can't just dominate the NFL like you did college.
Yeah.
And he realizes that, and I think he's playing. I think he's playing within himself. Kevin Hastings thinks otherwise about Cam Newton, but we all know who Kevin Hastings think hung the moon. That would be a guy down the road in Dallas.
Romo.
A guy by
he
the
has
name of
he
Romo.
has a Romeo romance.
He loves Romo.
I'm a little worried about Kevin and his relationship with Romo,
but Kevin, you got to give Cam Newton a little respect. He's coming along, and the Panthers are coming along, and I think it's good. It's good for Charlotte.
What I want to see,
good,
boys, right
Charlotte.
now is that matchup in the playoffs where the Panthers play the Cowboys. Kevin, double or nothing for the whole year. Double or nothing, buddy.
Well, the Cowboys are in that interesting division there where everybody.
Terry, you got
has
something
a
you want to
chance
say
win.
here? Yeah.
Terry keeps gesturing like
Are
he's
the
going
Cowboys going to make the
to
playoffs?
say something. I think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs. I don't know how far they'll get.
Who? Cowboys?
Yeah, the Panthers. Panthers own the Cowboys. When it's playoff time, Dallas goes home when they play the Panthers.
I didn't even know Dallas was going to
sort of like that. I won't mention anything about the Tar Heels and the Wolfpack, Terry, out of respect for you. Anyway,
let's get to some of these the Sweet 16, Dennis. You had that out.
How sweet it is.
And of course, I always complain about the Queen City bias in the Sweet 16.
No, surely not.
But
surely
people
not.
like old DeLamo Little,
Yeah.
I guess have a say-so in this thing, and they're always talking up the Charlotte
Don't
guys.
remind them
Let me see.
DeLamo's coming on here in a little while.
You don't need. You
to stay
just go
here.
to bed. He doesn't come on until 11:35.
At number 16, Lewis.
Yeah.
The Mustangs from East Lincoln,
There you
a
go.
deceptive 7-4, now 8-4, and I tell you what, I wouldn't want to see them boys in the playoff.
No.
That'd be a tough play.
Yes, it would.
At number 15, Mooresville. At number 14, Central Cabarrus. At number 13, North Rowan. Tommy, drum roll. Number 12, Burns.
And I think that's fair. I mean, I think there's some teams in there that are very good in getting the recognition. I think Burns and Crest and are very worthy of being there in the Sweet 16 where they are. But where do they have South Point?
Well, let's get to that. Number 11, West Mecklenburg. Number 10, Concord. Number 9, Butler. At number 8, Charlotte Catholic. That surprises me. They've got Catholic that low because usually they have a love affair with the those boys down there.
How are they 11-0? Didn't they go up to Maryland and get beat?
No, Catholic is 9-2.
Okay, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Rock Hill, South Point. I don't know if the quarterback ever got bail money down there or not, but they're 9-2, and a tie for number 5, Lewis, between the Crest Chargers and Charlotte Christian. Now, I don't know anything about Charlotte Christian. They are 11-0. That's an entirely different deal when you're playing that private school Christian league. Everybody's Tim Tebow in that league there. Number 4, to answer your question, is the Belmont South Point.
Okay, well that they're probably worthy of,
Yes,
being
I
that
think they
high. But of course, we see the top 3 teams are from the Queen City or
And
the
of
Queen
course-
or the Rock Hills in there too.
At number 3 is Huff, which is actually 10-1, but they play some good competition. Rock Hill Northwestern is the number 2 team, and of course, I think the legitimate, probably number 1 4A team in the state is Mallard Creek.
Mallard Creek.
They are locked and loaded, as we say.
Well, we don't really follow the 4A as much as we could here on the Marburger Show because
we don't have a 4A.
Our
4A
coverage
teams.
area is not
And
4A.
And I can remember I got some bad news in the newspaper. I was reading about Crest and their playoff record in the first round. A lot of us know that in 1991 we went up to Winston-Salem and got beat in the first round, and that is the last time that
Yeah.
Crest is Austin for. But we were a 4A school then. That's
Yeah.
when Crest was still a 4A school.
Hasn't Crest been in the playoffs for something like 20 straight years?
Yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
once
How long's Burns been in the? Oh, never mind.
No, it was only 1 year.
21 straight. And that includes the year we had to get off the bus because we did win that game.
Does that go back to 91? You telling me
We had to forfeit.
I was on the last Crest team that lost the first round?
Tommy, you were on the 91 team that got their what kicked?
No, we didn't. It was a close game, and our best player, Antoine Surratt, had a concussion, went out, couldn't get a doctor to clear him back. He was like, fine.
A Winston-Salem doctor wouldn't clear him back.
Wouldn't clear Antoine to come back in the game, and we lost 21-13.
Yeah.
But that is the last, and that's when Crest was a 4A school.
We've got a score for you on that Mallard Creek. As I said, they are big and they're bad. They beat Audrey Kell tonight 62-7. And
Audrey Kelly? I think it's Audrey Kell.
Kell. No, why? Why you put that on there? That's
Audrey
2 L's,
Kell.
by the way.
I thought he was making fun of him.
It's a Scottish term, lad.
Yeah.
Audrey Kell.
But the 4A teams, it'd be interesting to see what develops in the 4A championship. Not most of all of our teams are well, we have a couple 1A teams too, but primarily 2A and 3A is what we cover. So
yeah. It's like if I go to NC Preps just to sort of see what people are talking about, I don't mess with the 2A board. I don't recall going to the 1A board, but I go to the 3A board because that's where all the fun's at.
Independence Butler next week.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be a slobber knocker, Lewis.
That will be.
Yeah.
I think that maybe it is, Dennis, that the ideal size of a high school is around 1,000 to 1,200 kids. That's where your 3A schools are, and it seems to be the most competitive in the 3A. So, looking forward to what's going to happen in all the playoffs.
Caller?
Yep.
Go ahead, we got a caller.
Who we got? Go ahead. Hello.
Hello.
Who we got?
Lewis Carpenter.
You're not Lewis Carpenter. He's sitting over here.
Okay, well, that's who I need to speak to.
You got him. What you need?
This is Bob Beal, Jr.
Oh, my goodness. Bob, tell us about that ball game, son. I know you went.
Well, I didn't really. I didn't get a chance, but
okay.
I didn't want to talk about that. I just want to tell you that I promised you I would call you.
Yep.
And I always live up to my promise.
You're a good man.
You are the best announcer since Don Meredith, Dandy Don.
Boy, I'm in our company, ain't I, Dennis?
So we're going back in the day, And,
Dennis, you remember who Bobby is. Bobby played baseball back at Lincoln, and he played for the Legion team all those years.
Okay.
You remember?
Who was that?
You played Legion ball for a while.
Yeah, but the other person you talking about? Oh, me. Okay.
You, that's you. Yeah.
I played 4 years of American Legion baseball in Cherryville.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, it was a good learning process.
Well, Cherryville has a long, great history of American
That's
Legion
when they
baseball.
called it the Link Cherries, didn't they, Bobby?
And if in 1 year when we went to Las Vegas, we would have won the World Series if it weren't for one player that was had to practice summer football in Western Carolina.
Well, Bobby, I hate to tell you this, but to quote your favorite announcer, Don Meredith, if ifs and buts was candy and nuts, so what a Merry Christmas it'd be.
I heard that.
Yeah, I thought y'all would go tonight, Bobby. Did Paul and them?
Lewis, one trivia question.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day when me and your cousin, is that Richard?
Yep, Richard Smith.
We played. This is a Shelby deal here,
all right.
and I love Shelby, man. We love to play them, and we didn't win more than we lost, but there was a player that played both offense and defense, and he was a heck of a player, and he played quarterback at NC State. Can anybody tell me who that was?
Charlie Noggle.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Hey, listen.
Thank you very much.
Dennis is a Cleveland County guru.
I've been waiting here 30 minutes, but I love you all, and you got a great show.
Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you calling, buddy.
Yeah, boy.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, boy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I would never known that. I don't know.
I think Steve's trying to.
And
give
we
us
have
a-
the
I believe
music
we're gonna go sell
telling
some
us we need
stuff.
to pay some bills on the Marburger.
Either that or
postgame.
Steve's got to go to the bathroom. We'll be right back.
Either way, we'll be back shortly.
Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Your number one choice for drain service in Cleveland County is Drain Cleaners of Shelby. From slow to clogged drains to sewer odors to moving or installing a drain or even adding a drain, see Drain Cleaners of Shelby with state-of-the-art inspection cameras, locating equipment, and high-pressure jetters. From residential to commercial, just call 1-800-440-CLOG for a free estimate. They'll make sure your drains are actually draining. That's Drain Cleaners of Shelby. Yes, Cleveland County, you do have a train dealer. From Kings Mountain to Polkville, from Lawndale to Bellwood, from Falston to Earl, Roland Black Heating and Air will be there for you. They're only a phone call away at 704-865-1375. In minutes, a comfort specialist will be at your door for your heating or cooling needs. Yes, it's hard to stop a train. Again, call Roland Black Heating and Cooling at 704-865-1375. Your hometown train dealer for over 36 years.
Your Yoda Wood Stove dealer is Future Energy Company in Shelby. Come on in now and see how you can save $1,000 on a new Yodel wood stove. And be sure to ask about the Yodel limited lifetime warranty. And one easy air control lever will operate the entire stove. Come on in and see the big selection of Yodel wood stoves on display at Future Energy Company, 130 West Graham Street in Shelby. Go to the website at futureenergyco.com for more information on the full line of Yodel wood stoves.
Blanton Cars is slashing down payments. We offer down payments as low as $500. We are the most experienced buy here, pay here dealer in Cleveland County. We have cars as new as 2010 models that we will finance in-house. We don't look at your past credit. Your job is your credit here. We have payment plans to fit your budget. Stop by today and let us put you in the car you deserve. Blanton Cars has 2 locations to serve you in Shelby. East Dixon Boulevard, across from Super 8 Motel, and West Dixon Boulevard, next to Meineke Mufflers.
The 20th anniversary sale is underway at Keith's Carpet and Floor Covering in Shelby. It's hard to believe, but Keith and Cindy Edwards have been bringing you the best in carpet and installation now for 20 years. Try by this week and check out their 20th anniversary carpet and floor covering specials. And, of course, you get professional installation. Congratulations on 20 big years. Keith's Carpet and Floor Covering, 1162 East Marion Street in Shelby.
And now scores from around the area. Mooresville defeated Alexander Central tonight 33-6. It was Greensboro Dudley over South Caldwell 44-7. Porter Ridge over Watauga 32-26. It was Crest over Hickory Ridge 38-20. 21 straight first round wins for the Crest Chargers. It was Asheville Irwin falling to Ashbrook in double overtime 38-35. It was Statesville over South Iredell tonight, 35-17. Freedom No Trouble with East Rowan, 33-13. Forest View rolls up 63 on Jesse Carson's 48. It was Pisgah over Hickory, 31-14. Highbright No Trouble with Patton, 41-0. And South Point pulls away from West Rowan, 28-7. It was Burns over North Gaston tonight, 35-18. Bunker Hill comes from behind to defeat Ashe County 20-17. Hunter Huss holds off West Lincoln 30-27. It was Monroe over RS Central 46-8. East Lincoln survives Bandies 35-27. Maiden No Trouble with Forbush 35-0. It was Winston-Salem Carvin having no trouble with Lake Norman Charter 53-14. Next up for Winston-Salem Carver will be the Lincoln and Wolves, who defeated Thomasville tonight 14-7. Shelby defeated Mountain Heritage 58-8. It was Avery County over Bessemer City 36-21. Cherville over Highland Tech 42-13. Thomas Jefferson loses to Andrews 34-15, and West Columbus defeats Community School of Davison 13-0. And now back to the guys in the studio.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
We're back on the Marburger postgame show. I'm Tom Cinefani, along with
Dennis Davis
and Lewis Carpenter, I think.
And we're rounding out the last 15, 20 minutes here.
If you want to call us, Tom, what's the numbers?
If you want to call us, it's 704-482-1390. It's 704-435-3297 or 704-735-8071. Dennis, let's look at the next week's matchups. I think it'd be a good place to go.
We can do that. I've got the brackets here, and I can give you a little information on that. And based on the scores tonight, you and Lewis can sort of tell us what these records are going to be. I'm looking here at the 3AA, since that's the top sheet. I'm not favoring Crest, but they are the number one seed.
Well, let's just take it in order. That's what's in. Yeah, that's in order.
That's in order.
That's in order.
And that's why I wanted to say, Lewis, I'm not being preferential.
I understand.
Because Dennis would never be preferential.
No. As my cap points out, I favor all teams.
Never be preferential. Not him.
Who does Crest have? They got to play the Ashbrook Green Wave.
They will play the Ashbrook Green Wave. And I'll be quite honest and buff. Beating a team twice in the same year in football,
tough.
Lewis, is very tough. And particularly Ashbrook. I don't know what it is about that East Gastonia crowd, but they get their dandruff up when they see Charger.
This should be a very good football game.
I mean, I've just got a vibe that Crest is playing good ball right now, and they're going to take care of Ashbrook.
Don't underestimate Ashbrook. They'll take this game down to the final fourth quarter, Lewis.
Yeah.
And Crest will be lucky to get out with a win. But if they do, then they'll move into another bracket. Let's see, did Statesville win tonight?
Yes.
Okay, and then Sun Valley and AC Reynolds, who won that one? Do you have any idea?
No.
We've got Dakota on that one. Let's go ahead to the
All right.
Sunday.
Anyway,
Yeah,
they'll play the winner of that
Terry's got
matchup.
it.
In the
Terry's got it.
Oh, you can count on. I'm in the 3AA bracket down there. It's Sun Valley and AC Reynolds. That winner, number 4 against number 13 seed, I would suspect Sun Valley. Yep.
AC Reynolds beat Sun Valley 65-14.
That's a number 13 seed beating a 4 seed 65-13.
Whoa. Sun Valley was a 4 seed?
Yep.
And AC Reynolds was a 14 seed?
13.
Again, we see, where Parkwood 16 beat a number 1 Franklin. You boys in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, somebody better work on something.
You need what do they say in that commercial? Discount double check? We need one of those for Chapel Hill. Go ahead.
But anyway, Crest will be playing Ashbrook next week. And at this point, don't look any further because these seeds don't mean nothing at this point, as we've proved tonight and definitely next week. Now, let's move to the 3A, fellas.
3A.
And I'm looking here at Forest View. Did Forest View win tonight?
They finally won.
63. We couldn't figure out whether that was the basketball team or the football
but it turned out to be
football. And they will be playing Freedom. Now, Freedom, Tom, is the number 1 seed in the 3A.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Forest View has an excellent chance to beat them.
That will be an interesting game.
And I hope they do, just to show how incorrect Chapel Hill was for putting Freedom as a number 1 seed.
Oh, and moving on down here to the number 3 seed, South Point, will be playing the number 6 seed, Tom. That's Burns. And that should be a very interesting game.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, though, if that's a 6 playing a 3, I weigh 114 pounds.
You've been on a diet, huh?
I have been on a big diet.
Well, they talk about
that's ridiculous. That ought to be a 1 and a 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the old coin toss.
It's terrible.
That is.
And it
terrible.
looks like probably they're going to end up somewhere with Concord in that bracket.
Oh, yeah.
But South Point, Burns, this is a tough bracket.
Oh, it is a tough
think,
bracket.
I think David Allen made a good point, when he talked about the revenue these games bring in. When you cheat a guy out of a higher seed, you might have cheated him out of a game, and the revenue the school deserved to win.
Absolutely.
And
got a phone.
A phone call.
Got a phone call. Hello, phone.
Hello, is this me? Am I the one?
You are the one.
Okay, this is Michael. I had heard on Twitter, in fact, Dennis Davis knows me, Mike Sisk.
Okay, Mike, hey.
Hey, I heard that Franklin, undefeated, was upset by Parkwood tonight. Do you have anything on that?
We do.
35-17.
35-17?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Parkwood, number 16 seed, beat Franklin, number 1 seed, 35-17.
Wow. Okay.
At Franklin, too.
Yeah.
At Franklin. That's not easy. I'll get rid of my friends. You guys do a great job.
Well,
thank you.
Mike and I have a long history, by the way. We're both thespians.
Oh, thespians.
and Michael is
thespian.
Michael and I have.
I know.
Have been in the theater
in
together.
the theater. I thought
yes, and done performances
and doing some of that chicanery too.
Well, we didn't get into chicanery, but I was basically the retarded brother.
There you go.
And I think
that
Michael was
well.
the drunk neighbor. So
that well.
typecasting will get you every now and then.
Michael, appreciate you calling, buddy.
Oh, we got another caller.
Who we got?
All right,
we got a caller.
Steve's calling his bookie. That's sorry.
What's the over/under in the South Point game?
There you go.
He's putting his money on the lines in Wilkesboro. He's down for a half gallon of shine on
there
that.
You go.
All right. Well, speaking of which, like I said, we have the 2 AA brackets here.
Yep.
Now, Lewis, we've got Hunter Huss and West Lincoln tonight, and Hunter Huss prevailed in that one.
Right.
Sorry, Terry, but Hunter Huss next week will be playing the winner of let's see, bracket.
I saw that while ago.
Ash or Bunker Hill. They will be playing Bunker Hill next week. So
at Bunker Hill.
And let's see, Bunker Hill's a 3 seed. So Huss is a 5 seed.
Again, I like Hunter Huss's chances. In that
I do too.
They're tough, especially with Karan Moore playing the full game. Now Maiden.
Right.
Is a number 6 seed, Lewis.
I admit.
And they played Forbush tonight. And how did Maiden come out?
They
Lewis?
won.
They won
35-0.
They will advance next week to play. Wait a minute, Lewis.
Yeah.
The East Lincoln Mustangs.
Who they've already played this year.
Who they've already played.
And
got beat badly.
East Lincoln handled them, but I think Maiden had an off
I go
night.
back to what I said, boys. It's tough
Hard.
to beat
Yes,
a
sir.
team 2 times.
I guarantee you this won't be 59.
It'll be closer. It'll be closer.
Much closer.
Terry,
we got a phone call?
All
got
right.
Jeff.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how y'all doing this evening?
Hey, Jeff, what about them Forest View Jaguars?
Yes, tell you what, that game was a game of momentum shifts. I'll tell you that.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, they each exchanged touchdowns. It was 14-14, and then Forsyth, pulled away to a 35-14 lead in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And then Forsyth had breakdowns on, seems like offense and defense and special teams, and Carson was able to tie the game up 35-all at halftime, and you could feel the air being sucked out of the visitor side in China Grove.
Yeah. Well, at one time it was 48-48, wasn't it?
Yeah. At one time it was 28-28.
Carson.
Yeah.
And then it went crazy. Forsyth scored 63 points.
Yes, Forsyth scored like 3 unanswered touchdowns to put the Cougars away, actually.
Let me guess, those were passing touchdowns, right, Jeff?
No, actually, Mo Neal was able to get Forsyth. Yeah, Mo Neal on rushing touchdowns. I think Forsyth might have had 2 passing on it, but it was mostly Mo Neal and some of the big power fullbacks that they used. I mean, although Carson shut the power running game down in the second half, but they didn't completely shut Mo Neal down.
Yeah, well, it's good when you got Mo on your side, right?
Absolutely.
And then Forest View has their first ever road playoff victory.
Wow. And you guys have got Freedom next week. Now, you will have to play Freedom because, regretfully for Tom over here, they're the number 1 seed. But I'm going to say this, Jeff. I think with the Forest View offense that you guys could very well go up to Freedom and get your second road victory.
And then that would be the furthest they have ever gone in school history.
Wow. And should they win that one, then you guys would probably play the winner of the High Brighton, let's see, is it Hickory or Pisgah? I don't know. But anyway, it'd be more likely High Brighton, which is a number 5 seed, but has been a very talented team. That, too, would be a good game, Forest View and High Brighton, 2 high-scoring offenses there.
Go Hickory. Horseshoe wants to be back at home in the 3rd round.
I'm trying to look over here and see if I can give you the score on that Hickory and game tonight.
I will say I do like your chances against Freedom. Freedom, I'm no disrespect to them. They are a good team. As we've said, we don't think they're a number 1 team, but the way Forest View has consistently just put up really PlayStation numbers is what I'd call them on offense. They've scored more than 60 points on a number of times, so I think they have a very good chance to win that game.
And doing it with
Pisgah beat
starting quarterback.
Hickory tonight, 31-14.
All right, go ahead. Pisgah over Hickory?
Yeah.
Pisgah over Hickory. Okay, so Hickory's out. That might
What's
be some.
The final?
What was the final score, Dennis?
31-14 Pisgah.
31-14 Pisgah. So
you don't want to go play Pisgah because it get cold up there.
Yeah, it does.
That's Burns. They've been up there a couple of years ago, wasn't it, Tom?
Oh yes. No, I think that was we didn't play Pisgah. Who was it that we played? What's over there by Western Tuscola? Went up there to Tuscola, but it wasn't too warm that night. It was a good wood stove night, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
But Jeff, we appreciate you calling. And next week, after you go to that Forest View Freedom game, give us a call and let us know how it went.
Hey, will do, my friend.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and good luck.
You, man.
All right, Steve's signaling it's time to make some money. We need a commercial break. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Norris Merchandise's beautiful furniture with bedroom, living room, and dining room furniture by the famous brands. Norris Merchandise's hardware, everything from nuts and bolts to lawnmower blades. Norris Merchandise's Carhartt clothing, featuring Carhartt workwear, casual wear, and rugged outdoor wear. And Norris Merchandise is an archery shop with a complete line of archery equipment and accessories. That's Norris Merchandise, 2011 South Lafayette Street, Shelby, online at norrismerchandise.com or on Facebook.
Where are you eating breakfast today? Have you tried the Hub Cafe located inside Medical Arts Pharmacy? The Hub opens at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. on Saturday, serving an old-fashioned country breakfast at affordable prices. You'll find homemade biscuits, bacon, country sausage, country ham, liver mush, eggs, omelets, all cooked to order on the grill. Call 487-0511 or come on into the Hub Cafe for a delicious country breakfast located inside Medical Arts Pharmacy, 108 Grover Street, Shelby.
The Round Man, Okie Knipe, invites you into Okie's Tire and Service Center for all your tire and auto service needs. Okie gives you the best value in tires, both new and used tires. and they'll mount and balance your tires free. Come into Okie Service Center for all your service needs, including radiator flush, brakes, tune-ups, oil changes, and state inspections. Serving Cleveland County since 1978. That's right, over 35 years. Okie's Tire and Service Center, 800 West Warren Street in Shelby.
And now scores from around the area. In the 1AA bracket, it was Cherryville defeating Highland Tech tonight 42-13. It was Starmount over Mitchell 42-7. Next week, Cherryville will face Starmount. It was Shelby defeating Mountain Heritage 58-8. North Wilkes defeats Brevard tonight 31-28. Next week, Shelby will travel up to North Wilkes. It was North Rowan 42, Surrey Central 0, and Owen defeated Mount Pleasant 13-0. Other games, it was Polk County 45, Madison 13, Reedsville 50, Hendersonville 20. It was Lincoln 14, Thomasville 7, and Winston-Salem Carver 53, Lake Norman Charter 14. Next week, Lincoln will go to Winston-Salem Carver. It was Maiden defeating Forbush 35-0. It was East Lincoln over Bandy's 35-27. Next week, Maiden makes the trip back down to East Lincoln. It was High Brighton over West Lincoln 30-27, and Bunker Hill over Ashe County 20-17. Next week, Bunker Hill makes the trip over to Hunter Huss. It was Forest Hills with a 1-0 win over Smoky Mountain. A ineligible player was found with a physical that was outdated, so Forest Hills gets a victory 1-0. And next week they will play Parkwood, a 35-17 win over Franklin. The number 1 team in the 2AA is gone. In the 3A bracket, it was Burns defeating North Gaston 35-18. South Point over West Rowan 28-7. Next week, Burns makes the trip to South Point. It was High Brighton 41, Patton 0, and Pisgah over Hickory 31-14. Next week, High Brighton will travel up to Pisgah. It was Forest View over Jesse Carson 63-48, and Freedom over East Rowan 33-14. Next week, Forest View goes to Freedom. In the 3AA bracket, it was Statesville defeating South Iredale 35-17. It was AC Reynolds 65, Sun Valley 14. Next week, it will be Statesville facing AC Reynolds. Ashbrook defeated Asheville Irwin 38-35 in 2 overtimes, and Crest defeats Hickory Ridge 38-20. Ashbrook at Crest next weekend. Other scores from around the area. It was Porter Ridge defeating Watauga 32-26. It was Richmond County over Lake Norman 55-27. Mallard Creek no trouble with Aldrich Hill 62-7. It was Independence getting by Huff 13-10. Butler over Olympic 55-28. And the last score on our list, West Forsyth over Vance 27-14. And now back to the guys in the studio.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com.
Welcome back to the Marburger postgame show. Dennis Davis along with Lewis Carpenter and Tom Cinefani here. We're glad that you could stay with us. We've had some exciting ball games tonight, but we've had an exciting season, Lewis. And I was just looking at, I don't have the Gaston County stats. I don't have the Lincoln County stats. But I do have some Cleveland County stats here, and I want to give a shout-out to Coach Beam and the Burns Bulldogs this year for not only leading the county statistic-wise on offense, but also on defense.
Yep.
This year they had 262 yards rushing total.
Yeah.
They averaged 37.2 points a game. Shelby was next, then Crest, and then Kings Mountain. Okay.
When you're done.
Okay. And on defense, Burns only allowed 14.8 points per game. That was the best of the county schools this year.
Right.
Now, in individual statistics, the number one rusher, Tom, was Ruff from Burns,
who's nursing that injury, which we're not really sure to the extent of it.
1,316 yards, 19 touchdowns, 119.
But he get hurt tonight.
He got hurt last week.
And second behind him was Moore from Crest, who had 1,041. He got hurt last week, didn't play the second half against Shelby and did not play the second half this week. So we hope that he'll be able to get better as well this week. In passing, Lewis, I have never thought I would see this. The leading passing team in Cleveland County is the Shelby Golden Lions, Steve.
That's unusual.
Passing day.
Because for 40 years it was 3 yards and a cloud of dust.
And now the receivers, to go along with that, the leading receiver was Jolly from Shelby.
Yeah.
And the second receiver was Wright from Shelby. So if you're a Shelby Golden Lion.
Who was it Woody Hayes said, when you pass the ball, 3 things can happen and two of them are bad.
Yeah.
So he didn't pass the ball.
That was
either.
the first 3 years Shelby ran this offense. Now that one good thing has been happening to Shelby on offense. And so the Golden Lions are a force to be reckoned with, not only on the ground anymore, but in the air as well. However, I believe Steve and Bobby and David told us they primarily did it tonight on the ground since their
with
quarterback.
that young quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, let me get this in real quick, guys. Next week's broadcast, all audio only on KTC. Sorry, your good friends at Time Warner Cable have a monopoly on the playoffs, and we know that monopolies do 2 things: they overproduce and they underproduce and they overcharge. So sorry,
I bet your cable don't work this weekend.
we don't get those games. But what we do have for you is next week's broadcast. We have Cherryville at Starmount on 1590. We have Shelby at North Wilkes on 1390. And we have Lincoln at Winston-Salem Carver on 1050.
2 minutes.
And then we have also on KTC, we will have Maiden at East Lincoln, Burns at South Point, Ashbrook at Crest, Bunker Hill at Hunter Huss. So all your local playoff action. If you can't make it to a game, by all means, go. It's a great experience. Get out in the community, have a good time. Or if you want to go up to Wilkes County and Junior Johnson country, you can go up there.
Or you can go to the ABC store and get some Junior Johnson. Save a trip to
But join us on KTC if at all possible. One more time, Cherryville at Starmount, 1590. Shelby at North Wilkes on 1390. Lincoln at Winston-Salem Carver on 1050. All the other playoff action. Check us out on KTC Broadcasting.
And Carver is the #1 seed, so Lincoln's got its hands full.
Well, they used to be a 3A school. I remember about 8-9 years ago when we still had Troy Goss and that crowd.
Right.
And Chris played them when I think they were a 4A.
I started to say they were 4A back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be a good team. That's going to be a good ball game. But catch it on KTC. And Steve is telling me I'm out of time. So
we're out of time.
We'll
be back here next week. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Thank our friends at Marburger and Newt's Grill. Thank you for sponsoring our show.